Here are the top crypto trading bots that I use to take advantage of the plentiful opportunities in crypto. You don't have to be a pro trader and you don't need some trading system, but just simply know what you want to achieve and then choose the bot accordingly. In this video, I'm going to go through the different types of bot there actually are out there, including what they would be good for, and if you're the type of trader that they would be good for, how they can actually help you, and some of the pros and cons of them, plus how much risk we're actually taking, if any, by using the bots. After that, I'll go through the best platforms that I use that have different types of crypto trading bots as well. Timestamps in the description as always, and links to the platforms that I discuss are below if you want to go ahead and get set up trading. So the first thing I'm going to do is come to the different types of bots, because depending on what you want and who you are, you might want to choose one type of bot over the other. So the first one is a grid bot, and you can see on KuCoin right here, one of the platforms that I use, you have a spot grid and you have a futures grid. They're the same thing. Spot is where you buy and hold cryptocurrencies with cash. Futures is where you buy and trade synthetic contracts. The difference is that with futures, you can have a bias to go long or short, and you can leverage up your trading, which is obviously way more risky, but it's also a little bit cheaper with the trading fees. Spot means you take less risk, and if things go south, all that you do is just buy the crypto and don't have an opportunity to sell it, which if you're buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, you may think, well, I'm happy to buy it anyway. So there's some slightly different risks here. We can also go to Pionex, as you can see here. This is another platform I use, and they also have grid trading. And then as we come down, they have leverage and margin grid, which is essentially futures. So what exactly is a grid? Well, I'll show you right now. A grid is where the bot basically buys low and sells high in grids, and you can set them up exactly as you want. A grid is the buy and the sell, and when they're completed, that's the grid completed, and you earn a profit for that. This is something that we can't do as an individual. We just don't have the time or the resources or the speed as a natural person to input these trades. This is how a grid works. So I'll just show you right here. Let's say you have a grid and you want the bottom of the grid to be 40 and the top of the grid to be 45,000. So I'm just taking Bitcoin here. Let's say it's currently trading at around $42,500 per Bitcoin, and you put in a grid below and above the price. What's going to happen is that the bot is going to put in a number of different grids within this, and it's going to trade the volatility for you. So volatility is always in the markets, and the grid bot is trying to take advantage of that. What it's going to do, let's say the price is at 42.5, it's going to enter a buy order. So can we put that in? It's going to enter a buy order here. So that's green. And then what it's going to do is enter a sell order at a little bit higher. And that would be known as a grid. So when the price moves up, you bought at 42.5, it sells that grid, and that is your profit. It's a small profit, but the price, always goes up and down during the day. What happens then, it actually reloads that bid. So what happens is that once you've sold, you will reload the bid at the same price. And let's say the price comes down, what happens is you buy that. Let's say the price comes down a little bit more, it will also put in bids at lower prices. So it actually has a number of ratcheted bids all the way down. And let's say the price comes down here, you will buy. What it does though at this point is actually puts in a sell order for this grid that's actually lower than the initial, because you've now bought lower, you have a sell price that has come down accordingly. This grid down here also has a sell grid, which is above that. This one has a sell grid, which is above that. When the price actually moves and comes down, all of the bids will get filled, and then you just sell at that little higher price. If the price is around here again, what happens is you essentially just refresh bids and offers all day long. So all that's happening is the bot is just going buy, sell on volatility all day long, and it's essentially printing money on volatility. So there is still risk here. If the price comes down and then you go buy, and it doesn't go up again, then obviously you're going to be filled with a lot of crypto up at this price that you haven't sold. So potentially you're sitting on bought crypto that is lower than the price you bought at. So you're sitting on a loss in air quotes, because you've actually just bought the cryptocurrency. So what can happen is that, let's say you buy some crypto up here, the price comes down, so now you're sitting on crypto that you bought higher. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because you still have that crypto, but what the bot is going to do is then just enter a load more orders grids at these prices as well. So you can come down and potentially you're sitting on what is known as, a loss. But actually, as long as the grid keeps printing and keeps being volatile down at that lower price, you're going to be printing grids and then printing small profits as well. That's how it works. So there is still some risk. And obviously, if the price falls down below 40, then the bot's going to stop working and you're sitting on a holding of crypto. So there still is risk here, but that's how it works. Within a range, you're just going to be printing money through the volatility. The next bot I want to come to is called a rebalancing bot or a portfolio bot. It depends what platform you use. Smart rebalance is where you actually just set up a portfolio that you want to buy and the bot will do the work for you, buying it and keeping it within a range that you want. So on KuCoin, that's called Smart Rebalance. Investment portfolio, risk spread, long term. I'm going to click on Create Bot right here. You can see some of the options. So what happens on KuCoin is essentially they give you a portfolio with sector-specific allocation. So you can have a portfolio of DeFi plays. So let's look at the intro here. See what it is. You've got AVAX, Luna, Uniswap, Link, and Aave. So DeFi. So you can click on Create Now. We're going to look at another one, GameFi Revolution. So this is, gaming cryptos and metaverse cryptos. So you've got those here. So let's say you just really want to get exposure to the gaming space, but you don't know what crypto is going to do well. Just have a portfolio. What can happen is that essentially you can set up the portfolio exactly how you want. So, do you want 25% of mana, or do you actually want to reduce that, down to maybe 20% and then allocate maybe 5% more in, alien worlds like that. So that would be 20%. Just click confirm. Now that also works on Pionex. You actually have the many different trading bots here. So we have portfolio bot. As you can see, it's called rebalancing bot here as well. Create, multi-coins mode, and they also have lots of index pools that you can look at. So again, different people have put these portfolios together. You can see multi-coin, top 10 coins, and you can see the returns as well. So essentially what that's going to do is keep all of the cryptos within the balance of the amount that you want them, and it's going to buy and sell them over time. A key tip here is to look at the ratio that it rebalances at. I would not put the coin ratio at 1%. It's too narrow. You're going to be trading too much. If you're looking for a portfolio, you're probably looking for longer term investments. Maybe go to 4%, something like that. I wouldn't rebalance every 30 minutes. It's going to be far too active. You're going to be paying commissions and trading fees. Even though they're low, I still wouldn't do this. I would rebalance every couple of weeks, every month. Personally, you can choose that. But if you want to put a portfolio together and just let it ride and then come back to it over time, that would be a great option. The next bot is a DCA bot, dollar cost averaging. This is where you have an amount of money, $10,000, and say, buy me this crypto once a week for the next year. It's as simple as that. And DCA has been shown to be one of the, the best ways of investing over the long term, because you take all of the emotion out of it. You're not trying to buy dips. You're not trying to FOMO into stuff. It just is. And, you just don't change it. So you can see dollar cost average over time. It's, pretty self-explanatory. We'll go over to Pionex here. So we'll look at the DCA bot. They also have one. So essentially you just choose how much you want to invest and what time frame, or, what, every week, every hour, every day, every month, whatever it is, how much you want to invest, put your money on a platform. It just does that over time. Very easy, very simple, and it will just get you into a position. Hopefully, buying some at lower price, buying some at higher price, and getting an average price that is the same as the average price in the market. So you're not underperforming just the general performance of that crypto. The next bot I want to talk about is an arbitrage bot. I really like this type of bot. It's a more professional way of doing things. You're actually just making money out of the market itself. You're not taking a directional bet on any crypto. You're not going long or short or doing anything. You are just essentially printing money out of the market. This is what hedge funds have done for decades. And now because of crypto, we can actually do it as well, which is fantastic and why I like crypto. The way that arbitrage works, arbitrage is known as a risk-free profit. There is, of course, risk with everything. So the risks here is that actually Pionex use an API from Binance, and so that API may break or go down. Exchanges often kind of go blank for a while, especially during periods of high volatility. So there's risk there. But what arbitrage means in this case is obviously risk-free profit, is that you're not taking a directional bet in the market. When you trade futures, and you don't have to trade futures, other people do this. When they trade futures, you can go long or you can go short the futures contract. When you go long, you actually have to pay something called a funding, and I'll show you that here. So I'm just on Binance futures right now. Just any futures platform is going to be the same. So this is the futures platform, and as you can see, there's something called funding right here. When you go long a futures contract, you have to pay a funding rate to people that go short the contract, because for every long there is a short. If you go long a contract, you have to have that contract with someone that goes short. When you go long, you actually pay 0.1% every 8 hours. That works out at 0.03% every day, which if you multiply by 365 works out an annual yield of around 10-11%. So longs pay shorts 11% per year. That's the same with every futures contract. The way that this works is that you can actually go short in the futures market, let's say $500, and then you can go long in the spot market, $500. You have a net neutral position. You are long and short the exact same amount of crypto, and if the price goes up or down, it doesn't matter because you have exactly the same amount. If the price goes down, the short will win and you'll lose in the spot. If the price goes up, you'll lose in the futures and gain in the spot the exact same amount. But because you're short in the futures market, you are getting that funding. So essentially what you're doing is taking a neutral position and just siphoning off the funding rate that longs are paying shorts in the futures market. That is why it's known as an arbitrage. As you can see here for Ethereum, we're actually earning the last 180 days have paid an APR of 10.45% that you can get without taking any directional risk in the market. It's very clever, and it's amazing that we can do this. We need a trading bot to do so. You can do it in crypto. You can't do it in the real world because the hedge funds just print this money and don't give it back to us. So now I've gone over really what I think are the most popular, well-used and best bots for a lot of strategies. Really the three platforms that I use for crypto trading and that I think have the best bots. The first is Binance. Binance actually doesn't have the best bot platform, but they've added a few in. So for this year, they do make the list. You can come up to the futures markets. They don't have any spot trading bots, but they do have a dollar cost averaging bot on Binance. So if you go to Binance, they call it recurring buys, and that is dollar cost averaging basically. And you can do that with spot, and you can get that set up. So you can do that on Binance. If you want slightly more advanced trading, you can come to futures grid, and we know what a grid is now, so you can do that with futures. Remember, if you go long, you have to pay that funding rate. Futures allow you to leverage up. That's slightly more risky. And there's also something called TWAP, which is time weighted average price. Essentially what you can do is go long or short and set up the bot to put in a bunch of buys at what is known as the time weighted average price. So it will basically track and give you a long trade. Rather than going in once, you actually go in at multiple times throughout the day to get an average price, but you're still directional, so you're buying and selling. Binance is decent as a bot trading platform and has, the DCA bot. The second platform is KuCoin. For sure, one of the best platforms for trading bots. You have the spot grid if you want to just take less risk. If you want to leverage up and take more risk, you have futures. Smart Rebalance is the portfolio bot. DCA, dollar cost averaging. Infinity Grid is essentially a much higher risk version of a grid where you don't have a upper and a lower bound. You're basically just saying, hey, make me money, print the grid at any price. So KuCoin has a lot of bots, and they have a really good smartphone app as well. And that, you can do all the bots and grids on there as well. The third platform is Pionex, also a very good app. Actually, the apps for KuCoin and Pionex are better than the platforms. They're kind of more updated, but Pionex is really a bot-only platform, and you can really tell that really. You can manually trade on here as well, but you have grid trading bots, Martingale bot, which is actually unique to Pionex for now, which is where you DCA in and then sell one time, and just many other bots here. Leverage grids, infinity grids, trading buys and sales, dollar cost averaging, time weighted average price, and everything like that. I actually have specific guides on all of the platforms and the trading bots. I'll leave them linked in the description so you can have a look around and get more in depth. But these are the bots that I would use, and these are the 3 platforms that I would use. Trading bots are a tool that we can use. If you're going long anyway, you may as well try and DCA in or just buy at different prices. Let the bot do it for you, take the emotion out of it. And also that arbitrage bot is something a bit different where you're not taking any directional risk and just trying to print money from that arbitrage. As I said, all the videos are linked in the description. Also, if you want to sign up for Binance, KuCoin, Pionex, I'll leave them linked in the description as well. I'm James with MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.